Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody watching this show today. My name is Kerry Dupree, and I will be your naturalist presenter today live at the waterhole. We have started our afternoon at Tau Game Lodge in Madikwe with a young water buck feeding on some vegetation in this very thick and sticky mud. Little water buck, better be careful not to get stuck in the mud. There are still some crocodiles roaming around, and I wouldn't want to be chomped by a crocodile. So just a reminder, folks, that this is a live and interactive show, so please feel free to head across to our Twitter or X and join in the conversation. Don't forget to use the hashtag @WildEarth. Send through your comments, any questions you might have. We've been having an incredible birding bonanza week this week, so we will continue our birding. There's also a QR code on screen now. You can scan the QR code. So let the birding begin. So we've got a little 3-banded plover joining us just behind this water buck here, starting at bird number 1 for the day. And I must say, these young water buck are quite brave. I don't think I would be risking my life for a little bit of food in this thick, sticky mud. Lots of predators around. So there was a water buck that did pass away earlier this week at Tau Lodge. It was not looking like it was in great condition. This time of year, a lot of animals are succumbing to the dry season. And I think we did have some lions on Monday evening that did come and polish off that water buck carcass. So, very busy day today at Tau Lodge, it looks like. Nice big elephant bull, some zebra, wildebeest, and maybe if we're lucky, the red hartebeest will also come and join us at the watering hole today. Just having a bit of a scan around, checking out what else is out there today. We've got some blacksmith lapwings, and I think two yellow-billed ducks that were also hanging around at Tau Lodge waterhole yesterday. Shame these poor waterbuck are just desperate for some food at this time of year. As you can see, there's not much other greenery around, so I'm not surprised they're kind of testing fate with walking through this muddy little island, looking for some nice green vegetation. Looks like the elephants are also taking full advantage of the leftover bit of water, having a nice mud bath. And with temperatures climbing in so many different areas of Africa, I'm not surprised these elephants are cooling themselves down in the water. Very dry out there. No, we are all desperate for some rains to arrive. It's kind of rainy season is definitely teasing us this year. Lots of areas are experiencing some slight scattered showers, a few drops, not even a couple of mils. So hopefully that means it's a kind of floodgates to the rainy season are going to be arriving soon. GD Upquin, welcome. Hello. Thank you for joining us today, as well as Wendy. I agree with you there. It is a lovely mixed scenery that we have here. Lots going on. Nice to see an array of wildlife. Quite an old elephant to the left here. We did also have earlier in the week a poor old elephant cow over in Hyena Pan that looked like she was on her last legs. Wasn't too sure if she was going to make it to the end of our show, let alone the end of the day. But she managed to get out of the mud. And yeah, we haven't heard anything from her. So I think she's managed to survive another day closer to the rainy season's arriving. And I must say, I am definitely looking forward to seeing all of our locations in a different light, covered in green. What a change it will be to see all of the greenery that is about to sprout out when the rains arrive. So thank you, the OJ. The waterbuck sure are looking covered in mud, extra fluffy. So waterbuck actually have specially modified coats in order to be able to survive in very aquatic, wet environments. So waterbuck have this almost like how ducks have an oil preen gland. Waterbuck do have a liquid that is secreted from their skin that helps to give them a protective layer, waterproof protective layer over their fur, and this allows them to be able to spend a lot of time in the water and wet environments. But it is quite a foul smelling odor that comes from this very interesting oil that comes from the skin. So that is why it is kind of thought that not all predators would prefer to eat a waterbuck. I think it's kind of just an opportunistic meal if you want to catch a waterbuck. If a lion or leopard do often hunt for waterbuck. But yeah, I must say that smell is slight deterrent. But again, when a predator is hungry and can take a chance to make a kill, waterbuck will still be on the menu. See how elephant bull, there's two big elephant bulls here, and this one seems to have a very lazy trunk. He's having hump day syndrome, middle of the week, a little bit tired, waiting for Friday to come. Just going to rest his trunk right there. So Yuri, thank you for your question about waterbuck. So if you're close enough to waterbuck, I have smelt that odor of theirs, but I must say you must be within 5 to 10 meters. It's quite close to them in order to smell that quite pungent smell coming from their coat. I've smelt obviously dead waterbuck. I've had a few instances where I've worked in camps, and of course leopards love to stash their prey up in a tree, and the one camp I worked in often had a waterbuck up in a tree, and as you walk past, the smell of the waterbuck's skin was definitely a lot more pungent than the smell of its flesh actually rotting within the first few days. So yeah, not the most pleasant of smells. So to add to our birding list, we have got our common moorhen on the far right hand side. And there's our Egyptian geese and another moorhen. So we've got 3 common moorhens and 2 Egyptian geese. Yesterday we had an epic sighting here at Tau Lodge. We had the black-crowned night heron, which I have not seen for quite some time, and it's definitely a new bird lifer for my wild earth birding list. So yeah, awesome birding we've been having here this week. And I'm hoping to beat our record today. Yesterday we managed to get 39 bird species in the live at the waterhole time. So I'm praying we can possibly hit a new record of 40 birds. Nice to see a beautiful male waterbuck. So there's probably a little herd of waterbuck here, so you can have anything between 3 to 10 individuals all together. They don't congregate in big herds like you'd have a big herd of impala, but generally at least 2 to possibly 10 individuals in one herd of waterbuck, a small family group. This waterbuck is covered in mud. You can see where he's been. So Sally's got a question about birds and bird naming and how the naming structure of birds work. So yeah, birds are obviously all categorized into different family groups, and that's where they get the names from. So, for example, you'll have herons, you'll have greenback night heron, purple heron, black crowned night heron. So, again, it will be the family name, as you mentioned, thrush, tit, and then a more descriptive. Normally, a more descriptive word to describe the particular bird in itself. So you'll have, thrushes, and then there'll be something to describe the thrush, or as in tits, you'll have a black tit, southern black tit, um, northern black tit. So, yeah, kind of geographical regions can also be used in the name to describe where that bird occurs, and normally some feature will also be in the name. So, like hardy-dar ibis or heron, we've got grey heron here, we've got a black-headed heron, your oxpeckers, you've got yellow-billed oxpeckers, red-billed oxpeckers, so all to help to identify birds more accurately. Yeah, so yesterday we also had this grey heron with us as well. So pretty cool to see that he is still around. And obviously, with a lot of birds, it's quite frustrating when we have birds that do also change their names quite often. Yeah, it's all kind of ornithology and learning bird species better to better describe the actual bird. So many birds' names describe obviously the physical traits as well as behavior or habitat. So another good example is obviously yellow-billed stork, red-winged blackbirds as well. So yeah, can all be used in order to better describe the specific bird species. Lovely to see some elephants coming down to the watering hole. Nice little breeding herd family unit. Ah, little baby, check out this little guy. How cute. Oh, this baby elephant must be probably a few weeks old. So very alert and aware mother there. Looks like she will take great care of this little baby elephant. Isn't that adorable? As we're talking about birds, we do also get some birds that are actually named in honor of specific bird people. So, possibly any ornithologists or scientists that might be studying or discovering a new bird, you will get birds named after these specific explorers or in honor of specific explorers. So, yeah, you do get the Latin names in birds, which you can also break down and normally will better describe the actual bird in itself. Latin is not the easiest of languages to learn, but it does give you a more better understanding of the birds in themselves. And again, the Latin names never change, whereas common names in a lot of regions can vary from country to country. Very cute little elephant. Does have to be very careful not to get stuck in the mud this time of year. Lots of elephants and other animals do get stuck in the mud. It's our yellow-billed ducks giving us a bit of a show for the day. I've got one yellow-billed duck, but it looks like, there might be a red-billed teal. Oh, that's a new bird for our list. Red-billed teal behind there, blending in with his little yellow-billed duck friend. Wouldn't have even noticed there if we didn't take a closer look. So yeah, you can see they are very similar, these two different bird species. So again, the teals, you do get the red-billed teal and hot and tot teal in southern Africa, the two common teal species. We didn't get the red-billed teal yesterday, so that's a pretty epic new one. This waterbuck's looking rather muddy. So Martin R is in a question about oxpeckers and if they bother elephants. So because elephants are such thick-skinned animals, they don't generally have as much ticks as your thin-skinned antelope. So I wouldn't say oxpeckers are too much of a nuisance to elephants, but giraffe, especially at Old Doño, there seems to be a very high population of oxpeckers over in Old Doño. And so much so that when they bend over to drink, they get the oxpeckers all going into their ears and harassing them a little bit and just getting into their eyes. And it seems to be quite a nuisance, those oxpeckers over in Old Doño. There's our little common moorhen, getting a bit of a tail flick there. So Catherine, thanks for the update about the change in bird names. So apparently some of the European bird names have been changed recently. So yeah, my father is quite a he mostly only knows names of animals, trees and plants in Latin, and of course he knows pretty much every bird name in Latin as well. And yeah, so he's always very pedantic about that. That it's better to learn the Latin names of, especially pertaining to trees, plants, grasses, flowers, because again, it's very rare for the Latin names to be changed. So it's quite interesting that you mentioned that, Catherine, that the European bird names have recently changed. I think that would completely boggle my brain. Yeah, crazy. So Latin used to be a subject that used to be quite well studied, but nowadays you have to actually, it's quite difficult to study Latin. Oh, we've got some cattle egrets. So we did have these two cattle egrets here yesterday. They haven't moved too far. So again, they'll hang out with kind of any antelope species, picking up on any insects that might be disturbed in the grass. I must say these cattle egrets can be rather entertaining. They'll often sit on the backs of buffalo or hippo, and even hippo when they're going into the water, they'll continue to sit on the back of the hippo all the way until the hippo goes completely under the water. Then they'll take off. So almost hitching a free ride when they get tired of following the mammal species feeding. They'll just hitch a free ride, hang out for a bit, and then jump down onto the ground and feed again. Righty, well, we're having a bit of a scan here and there, looking out to see what is around. But in the meantime, why don't we head over to one of our other locations and see what's happening in Victoria Falls? Maybe we can tick off some birds on our list or add some mammals. Ooh, what time is it? Almost lunchtime. Is it Vulture Restaurant time here in Victoria Falls? It's Safari Lodge. So let's see how many birds we can add here. So we've got the marabou storks that look like they have just had a bath, sunning themselves, giving themselves a nice bit of a clean. I can see some hooded vultures there, as well as white-backed vulture. Oh, we've got impala also coming down for a drink. White-backed vulture. Oh, wow, there's actually a vulture lying completely flat on its belly. If you can have a look, there's two marabou storks to your left. And there's one vulture completely pancaking. It's a hooded vulture. It looks like he's flat as a pancake on the ground. Oh, there's another one there too. So this can be a way. Oh, they might actually be anting. There's quite a few of them doing the same thing. So they might actually be anting. So a lot of birds will use a practice called anting, and that's a way for them to help get rid of parasites from their feathers. Check at this, folks. That's really unusual. I've never seen this before. I've heard about it and read about it, but never actually seen birds doing this actual practice. Isn't that crazy? So they're picking up on any ants that might be on the ground, hoping for them to, one, remove parasites, or also it could be a method of, often what birds will do is some birds even pick up ants from the ground and put them on to their feathers so that the ants can kind of produce a pheromone that's left onto their wings, which can also be a very good anti-parasitic method. Isn't that cool? How crazy is that? It's very interesting behavior I've never seen before. It's always awesome to learn and see new things, to read about these things all the time, but actually see them in action is pretty awesome. It's kind of like a bird suntanning almost. So generally, these hooded vultures, they do have bare heads and necks, which are typically pink in color to reddish pink, which can vary in shades depending on factors like age, health, and breeding condition. Okay, we've got a few more birds to add here. Warthog, we've got a helmeted guinea fowl, yellow-billed stork, a warthog coming down to visit as well. It's probably hanging around for the lunchtime rush that's about to happen. All you can eat buffet down at Safari Lodge. I think normally it's around 1 o'clock that they do feed the vulture here at this vulture restaurant. Seeing some helmeted guinea fowl in the distance there, and then of course we do have a yellow-billed stork that looks like he's also taking hump day in his stride. So often storks will kind of sit down like that just to give their legs a bit of a break. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll see him hunting. Just having a scan, seeing what else is out there. Surprising we don't see any elephants coming down for a midday drink. Oh, we have a sacred ibis and a great white egret. So these are also some cool new birds which we didn't have on our list yesterday. So pretty cool to add this sacred ibis as well as our great white egret. I know we've got some of our birding fans that are watching today, Catherine and a few of other birders that are trying to kind of add a few birds to their birding, wild earth birding list. So I really hope that we do manage to get some new birds, some bird lifers. Always exciting getting some bird lifers. So we did get a question from Francis about vultures and if there are vulture species that are more endangered than others. So yeah, vultures are amongst some of the most endangered group of birds. Many vulture species are actually facing critically threatened across Africa, Asia, as well as Europe. Some of the species that are most endangered would be your white-rumped vulture, the Indian vulture, slender-billed vulture, our Rupel's vulture, hooded vulture as well, even though we did see quite a few hooded vulture in Zimbabwe. South Africa don't see hooded vulture as much. The white-headed vulture, I know there's only a few breeding pairs left in South Africa. Zimbabwe seems to have a more stable population of white-headed vultures, but they do nest in very specific regions in KwaZulu-Natal. So if you live or work on any reserves in KZN, I'm sure you are very much aware that KwaZulu-Natal is a breeding ground for a lot of the vulture species, especially white-backed vultures and the white-headed vulture. So I know there's a lot of work being done by BirdLife South Africa in order to protect this kind of vulture corridor, in order to make it a vulture friendly zone or vulture safe zone. So may all of this great work continue to protect these vulture species, because yeah, without vultures, there would definitely be a lot of parasites in the environment. So vultures play a very crucial role in the environment and the ecosystem. They help to rid and remove the ecosystem from parasites. Without vultures, there would be a lot more rotting carcasses around, as well as dead and decaying matter. Yeah, we do need vultures in order to remove all of these parasites from the environment. So yeah, thank you, BirdLife South Africa, for all the hard work that you do, and even BirdLife Zimbabwe for all the hard work that's being done to protect these vulture species. Beautiful male impala here. So, yeah, again, it's probably just a solitary male. You do get impala males within a herd, which will be your herd ram or herd male, but this looks like just a solitary male on his own, kind of doing his own thing. Hopefully in a few years' time he will be big and strong enough to claim his own female herd. So yeah, just another few more interesting facts about the very interesting behavior we saw with those vultures, the anting. So obviously I mentioned it can be used as a bit of an insecticide. So these ants, what they do is they actually release a formic acid when threatened, which is a natural chemical that can repel parasites as well as mites. By rubbing the ants on their feathers, birds may be able to use this formic acid as a natural insecticide to help them rid their feathers from pests. So obviously vultures do spend a lot of time around very filthy environments, a lot of carcasses, and a lot of unpleasant smells and bacteria. So it is very easy for vultures to pick up mites or parasites on their feathers. So yeah, it's very important that vultures keep their feathers in good condition so they still have good capabilities of flying. Otherwise, once their feathers start getting brittle and worn, which can be caused by parasites, it could prove quite difficult for them to fly. So, very cool to see birds anting today. Very interesting behavior. See our hooded vultures here. Interesting, we spoke about the different colorations of their faces, which can signify different age groups, as well as different sexual maturities of individual birds. And our white-backed vulture on the left there. So again, you can see this hooded vulture is gula flapping. We did speak of gula flapping yesterday, so we've been learning a lot about birds this week, and a lot of behaviors of birds. So gula flapping is whereby birds do open their mouths and kind of pant. So it's a way of cooling their bodies down in birds. Obviously, they are not like humans, not like us, that can sweat to cool themselves down. So if birds want to cool themselves down, they can either ones use the practice of gula flapping to cool down their blood. Obviously, they can also go and have a bit of a bath in a pan or a dam like this. And they also dust bath. So, dust bathing, same with mammals, can be a very good way to cool yourself down. Oh, it's two hooded vultures also grooming each other. Just as in mammals, grooming one another is a very important practice in birds as well, as a form of bonding. You see it quite a lot in vulture species. These vultures have very high acidity levels in their stomachs, which help them to digest all the food that they do feed on. So very high pH levels, which is strong enough to kill most bacteria that would be toxic to other species. So yeah, this acid and high pH levels helps them to safely consume the rotting meat that to most animals would be kind of make you feel very ill or would even kill some species. Vultures do also have an interesting defense mechanism. When threatened, vultures may also vomit as a defense. So, yeah, it's quite cool as a way to defend themselves in order to escape or elude predators. And the vomit is very acidic and can potentially burn a predator or even create an unbearable smell which will chase away any predators of these vultures. Rosie Adams, I do agree with you there. Birds are very intelligent creatures, I must say. It's lovely watching these birds, seeing what they're going to get up to. So I'm pretty sure they're waiting for their lunch. So, Lola, thank you for your question about vultures. Lola is wanting to know if I have ever seen vultures actively hunting. So, I haven't, besides in puddles where there's dead fish. I mean, marabou storks obviously they're mostly scavengers. Those bills of theirs are specially designed in order to steal and grab food. But yeah, you do find marabous will hunt at times. I mean, yeah, always opportunistic. So if there's anything they can catch on a more opportunistic basis, they definitely will. Small lizards or reptiles. But I have seen marabou storks hunting in puddles for fish. But I can't say I've ever seen any other vulture species actually hunting. So mostly scavengers. So many vulture species are actually quite social and they do roast in a social kind of structure, and it does help them to locate food a lot easier. They use kind of a family structure. So, yeah, if one vulture finds some food, you see there will be a lot more vulture following close by. These hooded vultures quite small and they can weigh anything from about 1 to 2.2 pounds. Um, and yeah, they generally have a wingspan of about 10 feet or can weigh anything up to 33 pounds. And most vultures actually have no larynx, so they can't make much of a noise. Although I have heard white-backed vultures, they do make a very strange squawking and squeaking, grunting sound, as well as lots of hissing noises when they are at carcasses. These marabous. Alrighty, folks, why don't we head over to one of our other locations, Safari Hook over in Namibia, and see what is waiting for us there. Alrighty, welcome to Safari Hook Namibia, everyone. We've got three big elephant bulls that look like they've come down for a nice afternoon drink as well as a mud bath. It's always interesting to watch elephants at a watering hole. Lots of dominance display amongst the big bulls. We've got a springbok in the background there, and we can also keep an eye out. Yesterday we did see a Corey busted, which was a pretty cool sighting, as well as a black stork, which was quite unusual to see in Namibia at this time of the year. So these Namibian elephants are quite large in body, so the body size is a lot bigger than that of what we know the savanna elephants in southern Africa. Although their tusks are usually quite short, could be due to a bit of a mineral deficiency, and also because of the extreme heat and the conditions that they live in. It makes the tusks very cracked and brittle, so they do break quite easily. Let's just have a bit of a quiet moment, just take in this beautiful scene and enjoy these elephants. Maybe we can hear them slurping up some water. This other big boy's finally moved out of the way, giving some other elephants a chance to have a drink. These elephants here in Namibia are partially famous as being known for the David adapted elephants. Oop. bit of dominance display here between these two big elephant bulls. Yeah, I'll probably put my money on the big bull on the right-hand side. Looks rather chunky, longer tusks. Often you find even younger bulls, they will challenge older bulls as just a kind of way of preparing themselves for adulthood as a big elephant bull. So these desert elephants, or elephants that you do get in Namibia, are a subspecies of the African elephant that have adapted to surviving in very extreme desert environments like Namibia. They can often travel very long distances in order to find food and water, and do exhibit a resilient behavior of being able to survive in very dry conditions. Incredible how these elephants can move such vast distances from one water source to the next and one food source to the next. These desert elephants do have much larger home ranges and can sometimes be up to thousands of kilometers apart in order to maintain their diet and also to find fresh water. So some of these herds are known to remember and flow through ancestral migratory routes to find the resources necessary to keep a herd alive, where there's enough food and water. So in regard to the conservation status of these desert elephants, they are protected as they are faced with habitat loss as well as human wildlife conflict, and poaching does occur occasionally. So there are a lot of community-based conservation programs in Namibia that do work to help mitigate these issues by involving local communities and local people in tourism and wildlife management in order to protect these incredible beasts. Still got our two blacksmith lapwings. They were also kind of in the same location as yesterday, seeking refuge, a little bit of the shade. But we're going to have a look out. There's a new bird. Oop, just seen a Namakwa dove flying past. Oop, these two boys are still having a bit of a joust. Seeing some other birds. Could have some barn swallows flying over this water, but they're a little bit too quick for me to get a confirmed ID. But we're just having a bit of a scan. I think there could either be a common wood sandpiper, or a green shank, if I'm not mistaken. Just somewhere down here at the water's edge, I've got my bird app waiting, my Newman's bird app, waiting to see. So here's our little Namakwa doves. Very cool. We also had the Namakwa doves here yesterday. Seen them flying across the screen, showing off that beautiful burgundy brown color underneath the wing. So this is the female Namakwa dove on the right hand side, and then on the left we have a young male. So you can see he's still a juvenile. His face hasn't completely turned black just yet. So generally the males have a black face and neck, and when they are sexually mature, they do also get a reddish, almost like pinkish orange bill as well. I'm having a look. I think there's also, fingers crossed, could be a green shank roaming around. Oop, beautiful color as the Namakwa doves fly in. Where is this green shank? Again, green shank and wood sandpiper can very easily be confused. The green shank is a little bit bigger in body size, a longer bill that kind of tilts upwards, and their stance and posture is slightly different too. So that'll be a pretty cool one for our list for the day. I think it's been quite some time since I saw a green. I think will be my first green shank on live at the waterhole. Keep our eyes peeled. Continue scanning. See, this pan is quite active. Lots of elephant activity. Some elephant dung, which provides food for a lot of other animals to come and scurry about in the elephant dung. Feed on any reminiscences of any seeds, fruit that might be remaining. Squirrels feed on elephant dung, birds, and I've even seen fish feeding on elephant dung, palm nut vultures. It's quite an array of animals that do feed on the dung from an elephant. Wonder where our little green shank has gone. Okay, the springbok also coming back for a visit. Coming to have a midday drink. So they're very agile and iconic antelope, the springbok, native to the very dry regions of southern Africa, especially common in Namibia, South Africa, and Botswana. They're very well known for their pronking behavior, their distinctive behavior, where they leap straight up into the air with an arched back and very stiff legs, and kind of hold their head very high. So it's kind of a display amongst the rainy season, or can be a courtship display among the males to attract the females. Can also be a way to deter any predators. There is our green shank, folks. Super excited to see a common green shank, just confirming on the bill there. So it does look like a juvenile. The breeding adults do have mottled spots on their belly, so you can see that very long bill that has a slight upward curve. He's got a bit of brown wings and a white belly. So super excited to get a little green shank live at the waterhole today. I hope this will be a bird lifer for some of you watching the show. So they are kind of very common in areas where it's very thick. They kind of always hang around muddy areas. It's a broad bill, especially for feeding. So overall grayish plumage, very prominent, greenish legs, and in flight they do appear quite dark because of the upper body. Let's play the call for you of the green shank here. Here we go. is a large wader. They will wade through the water as they hunt for food. So it does breed across northern Europe as well as Asia. So they are migrants, and generally, yeah, birds that do occur in Africa after the breeding season do occur in common wetlands and marshy areas. So the screen shank is coming in at number 18 on our bird list for the day. So if you're joining or watching, folks, please feel free to send in any birds you might hear that I might not have picked up. We're trying to beat our record for the day is 39 birds. We got 39 birds yesterday at live at the waterhole, which was a pretty cool number. Really happy with that. But if I could get 40 birds this week, I will be over the moon. Yes, I must say, until recently, I did really struggle to differentiate between the screen shank and common sandpiper. But yeah, if you see them together, you can really tell the difference. And yeah, he's quite a cute little bird, I must say. Very long bill. And in the breeding season, they do transform. And yeah, their legs sometimes get a little bit more like lighter green. And obviously, they do get a more mottled kind of coloration on their bellies. Let's see, maybe he's going to go and feed for us. Alrighty, folks, why don't we head back across to Victoria Falls Safari Lodge, see what else is happening with our vultures that are anting. So nice to see a little bit of greenery here in Victoria Falls. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if some hippos came over at night from the river and fed on some of this nice green vegetation that's in the river in the pan here. Looks like we've still got our two marabou storks hanging out at the watering hole. So having a little bit of a drink. And our vultures seem to have all disappeared. Oh. White-browed sparrow weaver calling. Our yellow-billed stork is also looking, I guess he's looking for a bit of an afternoon lunchtime snack. You can see him feeding there, trying to catch some fish possibly. I say the yellow-billed storks do look really beautiful in their breeding plumage. They sometimes get a bit of a pink tinge to their feathers. See him, they will often use their feet as a bit of a distraction decoy method to chase any fish into their bill. And I think we might have some sacred, we've seen the sacred ibis, and it looks like we have some glossy ibis here. So if we find the hardy-dow ibis today, then we would have had all the ibis species in southern Africa, which would be pretty epic. So we had the sacred ibis earlier here at the same pan, and now we've got two glossy ibis. See our not so attractive marabou stork is standing about. He looks like he needs to have a little bit of sun cream. Oh, there. Oops, you can see our helmeted guinea fowl also in the background there behind this mopani tree. I am enjoying seeing all the fresh mopani leaves sprouting in Victoria Falls. So my hometown is Victoria Falls, and I'm dying for it to also change color, get a bit green. Yeah, it's looking a bit dry and weathered at the moment. This warthog doesn't seem to be too worried about the dry season. He looks like he's in great condition. So often these warthogs will come to the vulture restaurant for feeding time. So warthogs are omnivores, so they do feed on meat from time to time. I have actually seen the warthogs here at Safari Lodge in Victoria Falls fighting with vulture for pieces of meat. So, yeah, they do feed on meat from time to time, warthogs, although their usual diet is roots and shoots and often quite a lot of tubers that they will feed on from their haunches. This is probably our sacred ibis at the bottom of the screen. Awesome to see the two different ibis species here. Just missing our hardy-dow ibis to complete our ibis family for the day. Helmeted guinea fowl calling. They look like young warthogs. I don't think they're probably from last year. So just hitting on a year. So warthogs will generally give birth to their little piglets as soon as the rains arrives. Generally December and January, sometimes end of November is when the warthogs will have their little piglets. And aren't they adorable, little baby warthogs? So fortunately, they do have a lot of predators, so the success rate is not too high for baby warthogs. If 2 out of 6 survive a season, that's pretty successful. Lots of predators out there will pick them off, including lions, leopard, and even cheetah and hyena. We've got one of our hooded vulture roaming around at the water's edge. So yeah, the feeding time kind of at the vulture restaurants or when vultures do feed can be quite quick if there's not too much food around. And as soon as vultures are fed, they generally will head to the nearest water point and then they will be off, uh, trying to look out for any more kills or any more possible opportunities to get a free meal. Alrighty, folks, why don't we link across to Tembe Elephant Park over in South Africa, see what else is waiting for us on Live at the Waterhole. So, looking lush and green here in Tembe Elephant Park, it is quite a change from some of our other locations. We've got some big elephant bulls as well as a small breeding herd of impala. We have had some luck recently with the nyala over at Tembe, so it's been nice to see some nyala hanging around. And we have some white-faced whistling ducks. There's been 6 white-faced whistling ducks hanging around the pan, and I'm hoping we might get some more weavers. There's been some village weavers or little masked weavers that have been building nests up in this tree. Sounds like a sandpiper just, oh no, 3-banded plover vocalizing as well by the water's edge. Yeah, a dark capped bulbul. We've also got an African jacana. We haven't seen our little kingfisher friend. There's normally a brown-hooded kingfisher that hangs around on some of the trees close to the water's edge, as well as normally a pair of little bee eaters. Maybe if we have a bit of a quiet moment here, have a listen. We can add some birds by sound. Some barn swallows flying around. So a lot of the swallow species obviously migrants and can indicate the arrivals of the rainy season. So you know if there's a lot of swallows flying around, the rains should be following shortly. Got a ring-necked dove and a big elephant bull. Possibly has itchy knees. It's been lovely having these white-faced whistling ducks around. I do love the sound of white-faced whistling ducks. And I haven't seen our pied kingfisher. So generally the 2 kingfisher we do find here at Tembe at this location is the brown-hooded kingfisher as well as the pied kingfisher. Sometimes frequents this watering hole. So Paolo, thank you for joining us today. We've had some great wildlife here. We are just keeping a lookout on some of our other locations. We did have some lions earlier in the week in Ngoma over in Namibia. We did have a hyena yesterday at Hyena Pan, which was pretty cool. And we've also had jackal this week, black-backed jackal at 2 different locations. So we will keep our eyes open for any predators. Would be super cool, of course. At Tembe, I have also seen lions coming down to drink at this location before. So, yeah, lots of chance of predators, hopefully, if we are lucky. So Ian is asking about if there are any vultures in this area. So yeah, some areas in South Africa, depending on which region, do have a bit of a shortage of vulture. But it's amazing how when there's any sort of dead animal or a kill, the vultures do follow quite shortly after. So yeah, there's generally in Maputoland or in Tembe, you would get the white-backed vulture, very rarely the Cape vulture, and I'm sure a lot of hooded vulture moving around this particular region. Just keeping a lookout. Any weavers? I know the weavers have been super busy building their nests up in this tree. Yeah, a sombre greenbill vocalizing in the forest in the background. Perfect habitat for the greenbills. Here in Tembe, they do like very thick forested areas. I was hoping we might get some hardy-dars here today as well. The hardy-dar ibis. We've been having some hardy-dars hanging around. And yeah, these elephants, there's a special spot underneath this tree, which seems to be quite a favorite spot for the elephants. They generally love to hang out under this tree. It could be because it is a nice shady spot, but there is also nice soft sand there, so they can have dust baths. Like you can see, this elephant right now is having a great dust bath, and also mineral rich soils for the elephants to feed on as well. The white-faced whistling ducks are having a bit of a nap. Wednesday nap time, I guess, for the white-faced whistling ducks. All right, folks, why don't we head across to Founders Lodge and see what is happening in the Eastern Cape. Talking of hardy-dars, I'm delighted. So today we've managed to tick off all the hardy-dar species in southern Africa. We've got the glossy ibis and sacred ibis in Victoria Falls, and now we have found our hardy-dar ibis over in the Eastern Cape at Founders Lodge. Coming in at bird number 27. He's giving himself a great groom there. You can see the iridescent colors of his wings reflecting in the light. So our bird list for Monday, was 27 birds. So we are on par with the birds that we saw on Monday. Yesterday, of course, we had a very lucky day with 39 bird species, and today we're trying to hit 40 bird species in one session of live at the waterhole. Keep an eye out, keep a scan. Maybe we see some rhinos coming down. So often, oh, there we go. Often see the rhinos coming down for a drink here at Founders Lodge. Speak of the devil. Must be a big bull male white rhino. This is their favorite scrubbing post, so they'll often come down for a drink, have a mud bath, and use this rubbing post to scratch off any mud or any itches that they might be having on that thick skin of theirs. Keep a lookout. I think I just saw a Cape wagtail jumping up close to this rhino here. I've seen Cape wagtails here before, and perfect habitat. Oh, two rhinos coming down for a drink. How lucky are we? Some red-billed oxpeckers sitting on the back of this rhino here. Let's have a listen to this rhino drinking, shall we? What an epic sighting of a white rhino and his little oxpecker friend coming down for a drink. So it's really awesome just to listen to that rhino slurping away at the water, giving a bit of a snort here and there, as well as the very memorable sound of an oxpecker. Always have to be careful of that sound. You know that there is big mammals close by, like rhinos or buffalo. And Catherine, I agree with you there. The hardy-dar ibises, when they're in their breeding plumage, unmuted, can be quite beautiful, I must say. This little oxpecker. I wonder where our crocodiles are. We'll have a bit of a scan, a bit of a pan around, see if we can find our crocodiles. There's one of the big crocodiles was out of the water yesterday on the bank, sunning himself. One of the spur fowls calling there. So this sounded like a red-billed spurfowl we had calling. So there's quite a rare spurfowl in South Africa, but it does occur in a very small region in the northern parts of South Africa. So another call bird to add to our list is the red-billed spurfowl. I think we've got a testicular calling as well. I'm just going to check up on that one. It could be a rattling testicular calling in the background. Yeah, very raspy. Yep, rattling testicular. Oh, there's our crocodile friend. You can barely see him. You can just see the top of his head, which just went down. Not the most pleasant of environments for these crocodiles right now. I mean, I'm wondering how long they're going to hold it out at this pan for, since there's definitely not much opportunity for them to actually hunt and feed, and the water is dwindling by the day. Right, folks, why don't we go and check Hyena Pan, see what's happening at Hyena Pan today. Looks like another hot day in Botswana over at Hyena Pan. Although it is hot and temperatures are climbing, the shade that has been cast by these mopane trees, even though they have such little leaf, is quite a comfort for these elephants. So you find a lot of these elephants standing around this pan, just relaxing and getting in as much of the shade and coolness that they can. Got a Cape starling that's just gone down to the watering hole for a drink. They'll stand there flapping their ears, trying to cool themselves down. Looks like a little baby having a nap. How cute is that? How adorable. Little baby elephant having a nap. Oops, sounds like that's some grey hornbills calling in the background there. Probably also seeking refuge around the camp, coming to feed on any fruit that might be close by. So Nora, thanks for asking about any updates about the elephant, the weak elephant that was around. So I do know some of the staff over at Hyena Pan, and I did send them a message to find out if the elephant was seen or died anywhere close by, and apparently not. So yeah, she managed to get out of the water. Two hyenas, folks, check in the mud. How cool is that? Oh my goodness, we're having an epic hyena week here at Hyena Pan. How cool! See two hyenas sleeping in the mud at Hyena Pan. Didn't even notice them there. How cool! So we were just talking about earlier this week, I was mentioning about how hyena pans. I have been to this location and stayed at this lodge, and I must say it is probably one of my favorite lodges in Botswana. And I'm sure they have a very high density of um, hyenas in this area, but there's a lot of den sites, so they do get a lot of hyenas roaming around um, through camp, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, but a bit of an update about that elephant. So that weak elephant we saw the other day, she was really struggling in the mud. She did manage to get out of the mud. She did hang around the pan for quite some time before she eventually did move off. But shame, she did look quite weak. She almost got stuck in the mud, and then after getting out of the mud, she was kind of resting up against a tree for quite a while. So yeah, but she did manage to move away from the pan, so I don't think she died anywhere near the pan, which is a good sign. Hopefully, we will see her back in better health. But how cool to see two hyenas just very casually sleeping on the water's edge over at Hyena Pan, in Botswana. I didn't see any hyenas during the day when I was staying at Hyena Pan Lodge. But of course, we were out in the reserve most of the time. But I did have, on a few occasions, hyena coming and chewing on my water pipes. Kind of close to my room, there was a kind of a water pan that had some pipes going close by, and the hyenas were there, causing all kinds of mischief and mayhem. All right, so we've got unstable feed. Let's head across to Tower Lodge. Elephants feeding away at this tiny little squashed acacia tree. I'm surprised there's anything left for them to feed off here. So a few birds that I did notice. So of course we had the grey hornbills over at Hyena Pan, and I also saw a pair of fork-tailed drongo, which is bringing us at 34 birds for the day so far. And these elephants seem pretty happy munching away. Again, you can see there's not much leaves on this acacia tree, but the elephants, as you can see, they're going for the bark. So they'll be ripping and stripping off the bark from this acacia tree to feed on that ambient layer, which is full with nutrients. Actually, this bush is a perfect bush. I think I've actually seen the red-billed spurfowl walking past this acacia tree when it was a bit more of a substantial tree. Not much left now, I must say. Elephants have demolished this little acacia thicket. Oop, here we go. Oh, no, that's our moorhen. I thought we were going to be lucky and see our red-billed spurfowl, but we've got our moorhen that has come in for another visit. We've got our wildebeest in the background there, also hanging out in the sun. I don't understand. I feel like the shade would be a much better place to lie. But wildebeest seem to enjoy just lying out in the sun. But I guess it's a nice open area which is safe from predators. Very cool to see those two hyenas enjoying their slumber by the pan at Hyena Pan. Apologies, our feed seems to be a bit unstable there. So we'll take a chance. We'll see what else we can see here at Tower Lodge. Nice to see a few zebra hanging around. There seems to always be elephant, wildebeest, and zebra here at Tower Lodge. Often our crocodiles are always around. Oop, and I can hear a tinkerbird calling. I think it is the red-rumped tinkerbird. Let's give a bit of a listen. Oh, looks like this elephant is dying to have a mud bath. Oh, here's some buffalo weavers calling. Still checking up on that tinkerbird. Earlier. We've got our crocodile that's right at the bottom of the screen here. That the elephants don't squash our poor crocodile. Cool, folks. So we're just checking all of our locations. We are at 35 birds for the day today. 5 more bird species, and I would have broken our record for live at the waterhole. I've often done quite a few bird lists, but this week we've been having a birding bonanza and been birding every single day of the week. And I'm dying to see if we can hit 40 birds for the day, which will be a new record for me, which will be pretty cool. I hope it's also been able to add a few birds to some of our viewers' lists. And this crocodile doesn't seem phased about birds at all. Although yesterday it was quite a cool interaction. We had some 3-banded plovers that looked like they were desperately trying to give this crocodile a bit of a dental clean. We often have instances where I have seen little 3-banded plovers picking away at crocodiles' teeth in order to feed off any bits and pieces of plaque or maybe a little bit of meat from his last kill. This elephant is enjoying himself. Must be lovely to eat some nice green food. Did have early in the week where there was a baby elephant also having a bit of a swim very close to this crocodile. So I must say they're either super lethargic, the crocodiles, or I wouldn't want to mess with a big elephant cow. There was a big elephant youngster, definitely with his mother close by. I wouldn't want to make a female elephant upset. But yeah, for a moment we all thought, is this crocodile going to go for this baby elephant? Crocodile again does not seem phased whatsoever. Now this elephant must be less than 2 or 3 feet from this crocodile. Doesn't seem too worried. Again, they're very limited with space at the moment, these crocodiles, so doesn't have many places to go. There's our Tinkerbird calling again. If any of our viewers have any idea which Tinkerbird was this vocalizing, please feel free to let me know. Very much like a squawking. For some reason, I think it's one of the red-rumped or red-fronted Tinkerbird. Crocodile is blending in very well. Alright folks, why don't we head across to Lentore and see what we can find at a different location. Alrighty, looks like we've got some female weavers here. What other birds can we see? Not sure which weavers these are. I'm just going to have a quick look. We had some beautiful waxbills yesterday. Some firefinches. Awesome, lots of little birds coming in for a drink. Very nervous though. I think there's a very high population of predatory birds here in this area. But yeah, smaller birds do seem very nervous. Is that this watering hole? Oops, there we go. We've got one of our firefinches that have joined us. The African firefinch. Distribution could be right. It's very red in color. Little spots. Close enough. A small brown reddish waxbill with a bluish grey bill and black under the wing. And then we have more little blue waxbills to the left. And to join us, little waxbills. Oh, looks like we had some pretty coloured birds flying down there. I wonder what is there. Oh, grey go-away bird. Nice one to add to the list. Oh, and we've got a little squirrel friend. So we had this, I think it could be the same squirrel we had yesterday. It was another little, very cute tree squirrel that came down yesterday for a drink. So cute to watch these little squirrels. It looks like... Oh, he wasn't hanging around, that little squirrel. More weavers. I'm just having a look, just try and see which weaver. It could be definitely females. Any of our viewers is sharp on the Kenyan birds, please feel free to send through any suggestions on an ID of these weavers. Could be. Looks like we have a different species of firefinch here as well. Less red. Yesterday we thought we did see some black-faced firefinches, which was pretty cool. Not seeing any black-face today. Could be the red-billed firefinch. Did see some with some black on the undertail. A lot less red in color, and the distribution looks about right for Kenya. So we've got the African firefinch and the red-billed firefinch, same as yesterday, which is pretty cool. Another firefinch on our list. Sorry folks, looks like our stable feed was a little bit unstable. We've come back to Hyena Pan in Botswana, checking out some elephants that are having a bit of a lazy day after a nice mud bath. Perfect place for them to come and rest up in the shade of these mopani trees. One of the more common tree species in this area around Hyena Pan is mopani. You do get a lot of knobthorns as well within this area, and occasionally a few little teak forest pockets from time to time, but mopani I definitely would say is the more prominent tree species here around Hyena Pan. Nice big bull. Also look like he's got some poverty lines there from the dry season, but could also just be an old elephant bull. Keep looking out for our old elephant cow that we saw the other day. So she's missing a tail and also missing a part of her trunk. So hopefully she comes back and we can see her again. That would be awesome to see her coming back for another drink at the pan. Will be a good sign. Maybe we can have a scan and see if our hyena are still having a nap down at the water's edge. Looks like it. It's quite cool to see those two hyena earlier, just sleeping in the mud right at the edge of this pan. See, this ground here is littered with elephant dung from all the elephant movement over the years. This big bull, very stumpy tusks, coming to have a nice drink at the fresh water. Kids here, got a blacksmith lapwing down at the water's edge. Still having a look. There's a few hyena down here earlier, just lying in the mud. Not seeing much, some driftwood. So, Cape Starling, which we have on our list already. Maybe the hyena have moved off. But 2 hyena sightings in 1 week. Not bad for hyena pan. Shrub Mopani there. Good shady spots for. Oh, there we go. There's our hyena. So they obviously just moved off slightly from the water's edge. Could have been chased by the elephants. And now we've got 1 hyena sleeping underneath this Mopani shrub. How cool is that? Just having a look. Maybe there's another one close by. There was 2 of them earlier. Hyenas probably had a very busy night, roaming around, looking for food, scavenging on whatever dead elephants there might be around. So it's definitely time for them to catch up on sleep during the day. Just having a bit of a scan to see if our other hyena is anywhere near. If they're from the same clan, they probably won't be too far from one another. We'll probably hang out together. As I mentioned earlier, oh, there we go. So we've got 3 hyenas. So these 2 actually haven't moved much. So pretty cool to see on this hyena here. So hyena do operate off a matriarchal society. So in the spotted hyenas, females are dominant over the males, and the social structure is all female run. So the females are larger and more aggressive in size and do hold a higher rank within a clan than the males. So even the lowest ranking females has priority and access to food over the male. So you'll have the matriarch or the main female of a clan, and then her subordinates will fall under her, and the males are last on the food chain. So, yeah, they will live in large groups. In some areas, they have recorded anything between 10 to 80 individuals within one clan, and they obviously do operate by this very strict dominance hierarchy. And it's usually an inheritance, so the females will inherit dominance hierarchical structure from their uh, mothers and passed on to each other. So I think there's actually 3 hyenas here. That makes 4 hyenas all at this pan today. Isn't that epic? Looks like they've had quite a busy night, these hyenas. So yeah, these spotted hyena are different to other hyena species in that they do have quite a social um, family structure as opposed to like the brown hyenas that are mostly solitary. And obviously, because the females are a lot bigger in size, the females are the primary hunters and leaders while hunting. Something in the water there. I don't know if there's maybe another hyena come down to join us. What an epic sighting. 4 hyenas at Hyena Pan today. What an awesome day it is to be at this camp. Although I think all the clients might be out on the game drives. Usually happens like that, all the activity happening in camp while everyone is already out looking for the wildlife, and the wildlife ends up coming to you. Oh, a bit of movement there. They seem to be loving this muddy patch, these 3 hyena. So they do look like they are in quite good condition. Got very good fur coats there, and obviously doing very well in this area. Also hear those cicadas in the background making quite a noise, um, reminding us that the rains are coming and also that Christmas is around the corner. Oh, Catherine, it would be really cool to see that little calf that we did see the other day. Yeah, depending on movements and territorial. Sorry. Sorry, folks. Looks like we had a bit of an unstable feed there at Hyena Pan, but it was pretty epic to watch those hyenas enjoying their muddy little nap patch. Pretty cool. So this elephant could spend the rest of the day in this mud here. Oops. Sorry, seems like we're having some unstable feeds there. Oh, we've got a puffback calling coming in at bird number 39 for the day, folks. I'm desperately trying to get one more bird species before the end of the day. So if you can hear any other birds, please feel free to send them through. We are at 38 birds for the day. We've already got our Egyptian geese. Our weavers are not being cooperative today. So I wonder if there's anything else out there so we can break our record for the day. Sorry, the puffback, black-backed puffback is coming in at bird number 39 for the day. So we need one more bird before the end of the day. Keeping my ears peeled, eyes open. Nice big elephant bull. Very impressive elephants here at Tembe Elephant Park, I must say. The minerals must be pretty rich and good genes in order for these elephants to have such lovely long tusks. Maybe we'll be lucky and finally see our little brown-hooded kingfisher. It's been a while. Since we've seen him. We've already got our white-faced whistling ducks, but always lovely to see them. Black crake we don't have on our list for the day. That would be cool. Oh, there's our little Nyala. So we haven't seen, this is our young male Nyala that we saw a couple of days ago with a female. I mean, it could be a different individual, but yeah, looks about the right age. Still, it's juvenile. Just scanning the trees. That big tree in the background could be a gymnogene coming out there, but not today. But it looks like a perfect spot. Maybe our little bee eaters. Maybe a little Cameroptera of some sort hopping about in this acacia tree. Or a red-necked spurfowl. We don't have a red-necked spurfowl for the list today. What else is out there? One more bird, folks. One more bird. A lark. Even a lark. We would accept a lark. Yellow-billed oxpecker. Maybe on the impala over there. Amazing when you're birding, you can be very aware and alert of different habitats and different places that you can look for different bird species. Here's our African jacana. We did get him earlier. Let's see him feeding at the water's edge. Nope, and two more white-faced whistling ducks, also filter feeding. Oh, that puffback is going crazy. Probably a male trying to attract some females. The black-backed puffback. The name has also changed recently. The African jacana or Jesus bird. They do have that beautiful blue shield on their face. Lovely color contrast. Very beautiful contrast. Didn't see our Corey busted today. So I guess we were pretty lucky yesterday with the Corey busted as well as the black stork and my favorite, the black crowned night heron. Oh, there's some hardy dollars. think I just heard a red-eyed dove calling as well. Just giving a confirmation here. Red-eyed dove. That would be pretty epic. Alrighty, folks, I just heard a red-eyed dove calling, so that brings us at 40 birds for the day. Super excited. Congratulations, we made our record for the day. Just want to say a big thank you to the team for helping us on our birding bonanza mission. It has been delightful. We got 40 birds for today, which is a new record. Pretty awesome. Here's some frogs in the background. I hope that you all enjoy the rest of your Wednesday hump day. Looking forward to the weekend coming. And yeah, hopefully we get some rain. Fingers crossed. So just want to say a big thank you from me and the rest of the Wild Earth team. Have a fabulous Wednesday afternoon, everybody.